Hail, I'm Jesus, motherfucking Christ. You can get that right? Motherfucking Christ. Simple nickel, hail, I'm Jesus, motherfucking Christ. Nickel, get that right? Motherfucking Christ. Plant me in your hearts. This is basically what Shembe basically said. Mind your language, by the way. I don't think I'll be quite crass with this video. But let's see how it goes. It depends on how it goes. Right? So, what I'm jumping into, very close up in your faces, what I'm jumping into is basically pointing out who Isaiah Shembe was. And before I jump into that, I'd read in the first video, Matthew 13 and John chapter 12, where Jesus is speaking about being a seed. The kingdom of heaven is like a seed that was planted and became a tall tree that became a home for all the wild animals in the garden. Right. That's right. So who is the seed? Right. And now what Jesus is pointing out with his life, if you look at chapter in John, that the seed must die in order that it must bear fruit. And this, Jesus is saying this in the context of him being about to be crucified, suffering mortality on behalf of the spirit of the Son of Man. Right. And what I'm pointing out is that Isaiah Shembe is the equivalent of the Son of God that gave up his life on behalf of the Son of Man, the true Christ. And he gave up his life so that it may be an example that people may follow so that it can bear more fruit. This is why a man called Isaiah Shembe died, suffered mortality. That's what his life is about. So what I want to share is basically how he illustrates this point with his life, and how I'm re-emphasizing the fact that Isaiah Shembe was Jesus, motherfucking Christ. Isaiah Shembe, the man that walked on the earth 100 years ago, was Jesus, motherfucking Christ. Jesus in a new context. Jesus recontextualized. Jesus in the context of the Zulu people. Right? So I have a lot that's on my mind at the moment, and I'm hoping that it all works out. The implementation of heaven and earth is not a joke in the context of the time and the place and time where people around you don't really respect you. So it's not the easiest thing to do. What I am going to say now is basically to just tell the story about Isaiah Shembe and why he is like a seed that was planted. This is how he does it. One of the ways he illustrates the point or demonstrates the principle. And this is what Isaiah Shembe did. I mean, a lot of people don't understand. It's like people read the Bible every day, and people find reasons to motivate themselves, inspire themselves. Primarily, that's what people use it for. And there's other people that try to believe in it and believe that it's true. And very seldom there are people who respond by demonstrating, firstly, that they get the message. So a lot of people don't get the message. Let me just put it this way. A lot of people don't get the message. People read it for their own selfish reasons. Nobody really interacts author. Let me just pause and find out who's calling. Wait, sorry, I had to take that call. I think what I was jumping into before I got interrupted was what I was saying is essentially not many people read the Bible to try to gauge what the spirit that inspired the writings is really trying to say. And this is the point I'm trying to make, is that a lot of people, you guys can claim to be all faithful and love God and everything, but do you really pay attention to what the guy is trying to communicate? Or are you just taking what you feel inspires you, motivates you, what you think is important to you? And you need to pay attention to this, because AMANAZARETHA and SHEMBE are the people that are able to use the Bible in such a way to say, to firstly, number one, respond by saying, look, I understand what you're trying to say, G. The spirit that inspired this, I get it. I see what you're trying to say. And more than just do that, leave evidence through customs and rituals, that actions, like acts of faith, that prove and demonstrate that I get you, bro. I get you. It's like reading a love letter from somebody and be like, I see how much you love me, and then responding with a gesture of love that proves that I actually read and understood what you said. This is basically the love of Isaiah Shembe, and this is what he demonstrates with his life. And I'm giving you guys an example now. No trip. That's why I'm saying Jesus, motherfucking Christ. Nigga, get that right? Motherfucking Christ. Niggas, Jesus motherfucking Christ, niggas. I'm telling you now, niggas. Gotta trust me on this. I know this, nigga. Shit. Right. This is what he does. This is how dope he is. He says, he reads the Bible story and he realizes, okay, look, I am that seed. How do I demonstrate that how do I demonstrate that I understand what the original author is saying? So what he does is this. He says, towards the end of his life, he says, no, there's a king that's coming. He is the custodian of all of these things. I am just making a way for him, but he will come in my name. However, before those who have followed me and those who have exercised faith in me, I ask you guys to do these two things. Right? Remember the moment my spirit left my body. At the time the spirit left my body, that is the time you should remember me. And then remember again the time that my body went into the earth. So in terms of the AMANAZARETHA movement, at 9 o'clock, they remember the founder, or Isaiah Shembe, and say his prayer. And that's how we do it, the 9 o'clock prayer, which is Uvuka Nathi, right, which means wake up with us. Right? Mtandazo wokuvuka, the prayer of waking up. The prayer of waking up is the direct translation. Mtandazo wokulala, the prayer of sleep. So at 6 o'clock in the evenings, the AMANAZARETHA say the evening prayer to remember him. 9 o'clock to remember him. So you see how when he was planted into the ground in Zulu, they say, Ukjala. Hey, yamuntu yajala bantu, man. Yajala. Like, it means that if you were a killer, you planting people, like you taking their bodies and you planting them into the ground. So what Isaiah Shembe also says, he promises AMANAZARETHA movement that at some point in time, UMBUSO will be held by the AMANAZARETHA themselves. And if they continue to remember him, this will be fulfilled. He goes on to say that even when he dies, please don't bury me in a coffin. Plant me in the ground so that my body can find its roots in the ground, plant me in the ground. So by him doing these things, he's illustrating the point that he understands what the author is saying. And he's saying, look, I am that seed that is being planted so that something can come out of it. And what I want to point out now before you guys get this is UMBUSO WEZULU. And this is why I'm saying this video is titled Plant Me in Your Heart. And every Nazarite that plants Shembe in his heart will get to see, has the promise of getting to see UMBUSO WEZULU. And what is this UMBUSO WEZULU? This is the Zulu kingdom that was in Senza and Akona of Dingani. And I'm going to jump into that in this next video. And I hope you guys appreciate what I'm talking about. Sweet.